Hey guys, very quickly before the video gets started, I wanted to make a quick announcement. Rockstar Energy Drink is holding a competition in Destiny 2 in the Crucible, Strikes, and Gambit over the next 7 weeks to earn prizes such as an in-game emblem, a nice gaming chair, some nice gaming headphones, to drown out the noise of your mom telling you to get off the PS4, a freaking car, and a trip to Bungie Studios to meet yours truly. Just kidding, Bungie hates me. But you can go. Also, iBuyPower is offering up 3 custom skin PCs as prizes. This is showing off their case builder, which is designed to mix, match, customize, and upgrade any parts of the case, from the front panel to the cages, top panels, and more. If you would like to enter into the competition or check out the case builder, I will leave links for you in the description. All you have to do is enter the code from specially marked Rockstar cans, inject yourself with that sugar, and play. That's all you have to do to earn points, is literally play the game you're already playing anyway. So you might as well just enter. But either way guys, that's all I've got for now. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Destiny 2 Forsaken is the latest and, according to a lot of people out there, greatest expansion Destiny has had yet. Comparing that to the quality of the other expansions this game has had, we're probably dealing with at least a 4 out of 10. With what seems like a never-ending cycle of ups and downs for the franchise, Forsaken is what we all hope the beginning to a long era of consistently good content for the game will be. I'm aware Forsaken has been out for a few weeks now, so perhaps to some of you, I'm a little tardy to this party. But I can assure you this time has been used to sink my teeth into the experience and really take my time with it, in order to provide you all with the quality, in-depth, extensive review you all want. I bet some of you out there that have been following my channel for a while assume that I've probably been slacking off playing Spider-Man this whole time. And if you think that, you are correct, that's exactly what I've been doing. So while I do plan on continuing playing, leveling up, beating the raid, what I really want to talk about is the story we see in Forsaken. And luckily enough, that's the one piece of content I played a lot of. I do understand that the story bleeds into the endgame, and while I do appreciate that inclusion, I'm going to focus on the campaign only in this video. Also, I do know that the lore tab has been added into the game, and I will be going into that a little bit later on, but I'm not going to focus on that either. The question we're facing today is, for a player jumping in, playing this story start to finish, and getting that primarily through dialogue and cutscenes in-game, how is that experience? The reason for why that is will be revealed later as kinda being the whole point of this video. So the best way to do so is go step by step through the campaign and talk about certain points as they come up. With that being said, I'm going to issue a big spoiler warning for anyone watching that hasn't beaten Forsaken's campaign. I think that's pretty obvious, but this is the internet, so I gotta throw that out there. Also, if you enjoy this and want to see me do it with other games out there, please let me know because I 100% would if people are interested in that sort of thing. Forsaken's campaign leading up to release was marketed heavily as this darker, Western-inspired revenge tale. And for what I've seen, it's gotten a lot of praise for being just that. Some might even call it good. And quite honestly, I have no idea why. Maybe because the bar is set so low? In my opinion, it's better than Destiny 2's vanilla campaign, but it's still not anything special. I think the Taken King story is better than Forsaken's in a lot of ways. That doesn't mean that I don't think Forsaken is a really good expansion as a whole, because I do think it is. I don't want that to get misconstrued. But solely on the campaign front, it still falls short, and I think it's time to make some big changes here. So I'm going to stop talking, and without further ado, let's analyze the crap out of this story.
Petra Venge. Thanks for the invite. What you packing for this party?
The usual.
Ooh, do the thing! Seriously, watch this. That'll never not freak me out. Do it again.
Later. Maybe. Right now, Gen Pop is running wild. Fortunately, the main arena and lower levels remain on lockdown. But if the core security systems fail, containment is going to be a problem.
Just another day at the office. All right, partner, this is a Cayde riff in 6. Watch me for the changes and try to keep up. Now let's go to prison! Woo! Got you!
So basically the opening concept is that there's a prison break at the Prison of Elders, and we've just got to shoot everything in the face. And right off the bat, one thing stands out to me a lot, and that's the fact that Nathan Fillion isn't voicing Cayde in this expansion. Instead, they got Nolan North to do it. Now, Nolan North is a great voice actor. He's probably my favorite, if I'm being honest. But immediately, I don't know, something is taken away. They never really specified why Nathan Fillion couldn't come in to voice Cayde here. I mean, you wouldn't think it'd be that hard. It's not like his character's in the game for very long. Nolan North does a fine job, but it's just not the same. Nathan Fillion was the reason Cayde is liked so much, and no other actor, no matter how good they are, is going to be able to capture that. So not the biggest deal in the world, but it's slightly disappointing the voice of Cayde couldn't show up to be a part of his own expansion. But yeah, we've got a typical Destiny mission here. The art design and soundtrack are out of this world as usual. And no, that wasn't supposed to be a pun, even though it totally is. But when I say out of this world, I mean it. The music especially just always manages to be so good. Like, I wish games that had stories I was invested in and characters I cared about could have music this fantastic. There are some interesting parts in here. You run into Cayde and Petra a few times, which makes you feel like you're playing an actual video game. But they quickly leave the screen and continue to talk to you on the comms instead of fight with you. Overall, it's a good start, it's enjoyable, they try to mix up the gameplay as much as they can. I still like shooting aliens in the face. It's all good here. So Petra goes and checks on some cells, only to see that those that belong to Uldren and the Barons are empty. She says some weird line about how this is a prison break, not a prison riot. Which, I don't know, seemed pretty obvious, Petra? To stop them, Cayde has to get to the airlock on Deck 0 and does so in the most Cayde way possible, aka badass, yet completely flamboyant and unnecessary. We then get an extremely long, yet awesome, cutscene of Cayde kicking ass. He literally stabs a man with his face. And while that's cool, it also brings up an issue that I can't ignore. This scene is great, but it's a prime example of how in Destiny, you are not important. In most other games, you are in control of this pivotal scene. You are the center of attention. In Destiny, you are watching the center of attention. It's hard to not make you feel like an interchangeable part when you are. However, at least for me, it detracts from the experience. In Spider-Man, you play as Spider-Man, not a random pedestrian who watches Spider-Man in a cutscene. You are part of the action when all the interesting stuff is happening. But anyway, moving forward, Cayde stupidly pulls out his ghost, which gets shot, meaning that he can no longer be healed or revived. On the way down to Cayde, we get introduced to a new type of Fallen in an extremely similar fashion to how the Taken were introduced 3 years ago. The Scorn are cool, they've got some really cool designs. You can still make the complaint that Destiny's been out for like 5 years now and they still have the same 4 enemy races, but I'm not really going to open up that can of worms right now. Either way, you kill a big ugly thing and catch up to Cayde only to see Prince Uldren there already having finished the job. After making a few jokes, Cayde then has his last words, which is actually some good dialogue.
You tell Zavala and Ikora, the Vanguard is the best bet I ever lost.
Now, I want to take some time to talk about the death of Cayde. It's a really mixed bag for me because I think people that don't like this decision have some good points, and I think people that do like this decision have some good points as well. I think in the long run, this may prove to be a regret, considering Cayde has been the face of Destiny for a while now, especially when it comes to the marketing. He was the only character that isn't super stoic, serious, and boring. I know some people have an issue with revealing his death so soon and using it as a way to create hype, and while I do think that spoiler took a little bit away from a potentially impactful moment, In the end, Destiny was in a bad spot, and if marketing the death of Cayde was the way to get people to buy this expansion, then I think overall it was a good move. The only issue now is where the story goes from here, now that Cayde is gone. Destiny does have plenty of interesting characters, they're all just super underdeveloped. And to be honest, Cayde is no exception. So if they can delve deeper into the other characters in this universe, then I think they'll be fine. However, if that's not the case, which is most likely in my opinion, then I wouldn't be surprised if Bungie panic brings back Cayde from the dead. And in terms of how it was handled, I thought it was fine. There are certainly plenty of other more impactful character deaths out there, but I didn't think they completely botched this up. It was pretty much what I expected it to be. It was upsetting, but I wasn't moved or tearing up or anything.
He had the worst jokes. Even worse timing. I wanted to laugh. I really did. We should have been there. This is not your fault. This is on the head of Uldren Sov.
We need to keep our eyes here. On our home, our people, the Traveler. The reef was lost the moment it lost its queen. So if another Sov wants a stretch of lifeless rocks, let him have it.
This is Cayde we're talking about. For us to do nothing is
Say it.
cowardice.
I refuse to bury any more friends.
You won't have to. Uldren Sov is mine.
I have no words for this scene. Okay, so after 3 or 4 years of our character not talking, he finally speaks up. I'm pretty sure he only says like 9 words in this expansion, which makes me feel like they only implemented this as a sort of lull moment. And getting into the scene in general, it is really just filled with a big butthole. Ikora and Zavala make good points, but both of them are wrong. Ikora wants to go after Uldren and seek revenge, and so I get that Zavala thinks that's a morally wrong thing to do, but everything falls apart when you take a step back and realize that there are plenty of other reasons to go after Uldren that don't involve getting revenge for Cayde. Number 1. Uldren and all these barons no one seems to mention broke out of the Prison of Elders. So it would be a Guardian thing to do to go out there and round them back up. Number 2. It's not like Uldren's goal in all this was to kill Cayde. He just got in the crossfire. Uldren's plan has nothing to do with Cayde. So regardless, the Guardian should go out there and stop whatever he's planning as a preventative cause. Preventing catastrophes from occurring is like all that Guardians ever do. I understand what they're trying to do here. They're trying to raise the moral question of what's good and what's evil and add a gray area in between the light and the darkness. Those of you that have been watching my videos for a long time know that's something I wanted Destiny to explore before Destiny 2 even came out. But just like in Destiny 2 Vanilla, the moral question it tries to answer just comes up short with plot holes and a general lack of execution, especially in this one. They really make the Vanguard look incompetent, allowing Uldren to run amok, and just one random Guardian who opens his mouth once every 3 years to go on a mission all by himself. Then we get this expensive looking cutscene with Uldren and the Barons going over his plan. And they repeat the really weird thing they did with Gaul last year where the scene begins and ends with the logo of the enemy race, rather than just fading in and out from black like normal people. The scene kind of plays with your mind as Uldren starts seeing his sister, the Queen, which was super confusing at first, but you quickly find out that she is just an illusion. Mara seems to be trapped somewhere, and it's Uldren's job to rescue her. Hell yeah. Then we move on to the Tangled Shore, one of Forsaken's new playable areas. I know I say it a lot, so the impact on it is probably lost, but I want to point out yet again how incredible the art design of the environments is in this game. The mission design is pretty linear, I will admit, with markers telling you where to go, but this area really does feel like an open, western in-space wasteland. In the Tangled Shore is the first time we see collectibles that allow you to open up little lore tabs upon finding them. They're literally the same things as ghosts from Destiny 1, but at least I don't have to go to an external website to read them anymore. The system itself needs some more features, in my opinion, and it should certainly be more in depth. I would really like, and honestly should just expect things like character bios and a bestiary, but for now, I'll take what I can get. After shooting some plebs in the face for a while, you stumble upon Petra, who hacks into your comms.
Someone's hacking our comms.
You're late. Here I was thinking I'd be hunting Uldren alone.
Petra Venge.
We need to talk. Face to face.
And now, for the first time ever, we actually have AI companions fighting with us in Destiny. I feel weird for taking basic features in other games as positive, but despite the AI being like, what's the word? Stupid. It did feel cool to fight along someone else rather than having characters come in and out of scenes whenever they please. You eventually meet up with Petra, who brings you to her friend, the Spider.
Oh, I see. Despite our clear, mutually aligned interests, I'm sorry, but I can't help but feel like it is I who will come up short. It's true. I know where Uldren and his barren scheme. You go, scratch your itch, then we can just say, you owe me. Do we have a deal?
Deal.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Spider is awesome. His design, his voice, even how he's written is all really, really spicy. I do wish he wasn't confined to being just a vendor. Like, I wish there could be characters in this game that can be more than just a vendor, but whatever, he's really cool. Spider makes you do some of his bounties, which is just some filler to level up. They give you a really cool bow and arrow during this part, probably because Bungie knew that this section would be incredibly boring without it. Once you're done grocery shopping for Spider, he gives you the locations to all of Uldren's barons. They set this up in adventures, which some people might not like, but I actually do. These missions were done as you were leveling up. You'd get to the level of a certain baron, you'd face him, level up some more, battle the next that was slightly more powerful, rinse, repeat. There was something about it that made it a very enjoyable part for me. I could be in the minority of that, but I don't know, I think I like the concept behind increasing your power to face the next foe, enter the ringer with a more dangerous baron each time. All of the battles were interesting and different enough to keep it fresh. No one adventure felt the same as the other one, which is pretty rare in Destiny. All in all, I really like this part of the campaign. Normally in Destiny, the first and last missions are really good, where the middle part sucks booty cheeks. But I didn't really feel that way with Forsaken as much as I normally do. In the middle of these battles, we get a glimpse of what Uldren is up to, as he just literally is able to waltz in on the Shard of the Traveler, still chilling right there, out in the open. You'd think the Vanguard would have done something about that, but I guess not, as Uldren just takes a piece straight from it. And Petra is literally the worst sniper ever.
Damn.
Like, worse than me. And that is saying something. Have you seen my Cayde? It's not too long before Spider and Petra tell us that Uldren plans on going to the Dreaming City to finish his schemes. So of course we've got to go there and stop him. After killing the final Baron, which was 10 times easier when I was actually high enough light to do it, you end up going through these very ominous sequences where you can actually hear Mara talking to Uldren. Right before catching up to him, we see one last scene where Uldren is clearly taken over with whatever this stuff is. I know what's going on here, but the game itself doesn't tell you very well, so for the time being, I'm just going to pretend I'm confused. Anyway, Uldren, after literally going insane, uses the shard from the Traveler to free Mara from the Dreaming City.
You brave, devoted, pathetic fool. Thank you.
Excuse me? So then you battle the final boss, the voice of Riven. Never does the game mention Riven, or explain why Uldren looked taken, or why Mara is this ugly, looking space squid eyeball from the depths of hell. The only thing they tell you is to shoot the sucker, and I'm pretty good at that. It has a critical spot. That's about all the information Bungie feels the need to tell me. After defeating the voice of Riven, you confront Uldren one final time. I don't know how he's even alive, but I've given up all hope at this point, so who cares honestly.
Funny. The line between light and dark is so very thin. Do you know which side you're on?
What the frick? Okay, so time to break this whole thing down with the remaining time I have. For those of you that are confused, so everyone. Basically, from my understanding, Uldren was being manipulated by Riven, which is an Ahamkara. But then Riven itself was being manipulated by the Taken, hence why Uldren looked taken throughout the campaign. So basically, if you think about it, this is all probably just a big setup for a Savathun expansion. Because if it's the Taken behind this, then it's clearly her. That's an extremely crappy and rushed way of explaining the ending, but this isn't a mystery behind video, and I'm just tired. The main point in all of this that I have to address is the fact that without going online or reading deep into the lore, you will have absolutely no idea what's going on. I will say I didn't read every single little piece of lore that I unlocked during the campaign, but to my understanding it doesn't really give a great amount of context by the time you reach the end of the story. This is one of the reasons why I think The Taken King has a better campaign than Forsaken. Does it leave the story open-ended? Yeah, but what it does better than Forsaken is feel like its own experience with a beginning and an end. The ending to Forsaken is so out there and confusing that it detracts from the revenge you're trying to get on Uldren. It's a twist in the story for sure, and I like that unexpected things are happening, but there's a difference between a good plot twist and just tossing something random in at the end that makes no sense. And once again, the story fails at hammering home the deep moral question it's trying to ask. The line between the light and the darkness is not blurred at all, it is still finely drawn. What Destiny needs to do is play at its strengths. I understand that it tries to be so many different games at once, and I think that's good, it's very good to be ambitious, but I think Bungie needs to take a step back, see what Destiny is really good at, and lean into that more. They really need to stop putting such an emphasis on a mediocre story and dumping so much money on these fancy cutscenes. Because everyone that plays Destiny rushes through it anyway to get to the endgame, and more than likely goofs around at a party the entire time during it. Destiny's story is best when it's a mystery, when it lets the player figure out what's happening. I think they really should put more of an emphasis in telling the narrative through discovery in the open world through dungeons and collectibles and lost sectors and Easter eggs. Let the players figure out that stuff and explore the incredible worlds the design team constantly builds. They're pretty much already doing that, trying to decipher whatever is happening in these cutscenes. This also allows more time to lean in on the combat system, making it more complex and deeper, putting development time and money into making that area of the game even better than it already is, the area of the game that has kept people playing Destiny since the very beginning. Make more enemy races, more weapon types, more combat scenarios, more vehicles. Make the worlds dense, littered with secrets to uncover and foes to face. This would make Destiny what it really should be in my opinion. I really think Bungie at this point should consider altering the way they look at the campaign narrative in Destiny. And when I say alter, I'm saying changing it drastically or completely removing it. That might sound kind of crazy at first, but when you think about why you play Destiny and consider all of the possibilities of additions to the game that could come from making a move like this, I really think it would be worth it. So guys, those are my thoughts on the Forsaken campaign. In the comments below, make sure to tell me what you all think and what you'd like to see next in a future video. If you enjoyed the video, if you could please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. This video took an extremely long time to make, so any support would be really appreciated. If you haven't already, make sure to sign up for the Rockstar Riots tournament. There will be a link provided in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.